The Princess May Naniha, Nabi Ramona Mason, Dus Na Appa, Martin Bass Sr., Nanihan, Na Dogo, Brian Mason, Dus Na Gagu, Isla Choktu Mason, Nanihan, Na Soso, Naomi Primo Mason, Naniha, Na Nanamuna Dokobadi, Dus Klamath Falls Night. Hi, I'm Princess Mason. I'm Klamath in Western Shoshone. My mom is Ramona Mason. My dad's Martin Bass Sr. And my maternal grandpa is Brian Mason. And my maternal grandma is Isla Choktu Mason. And my great-grandma, maternal great-grandma is Naomi Primo Mason. And I am from Klamath Falls. I was born there, but I've mostly been raised in Portland, and I currently live off and on Portland in Eugene area. So Portland Eugene knock on. Yeah. So my documentary is the Kla-Mo-Ya Languages, the Klamath, Modoc and Yahooskin Tribes, or Klamath, Modoc and Paiute languages. I'm really interested in learning my tribal languages because when I was in high school I had the amazing opportunity to learn Numu or Western Shoshone, and this was in a youth program where other high schoolers would go to universities and community colleges, and we'd live on site. We would learn the Numu in classrooms, and then we'd get elders and community members to visit us and teach us, and we also got to visit different Western Shoshone reservations on the weekends. And yeah, so that made me very passionate about learning Numu, learning my Western Shoshone culture, and this was all throughout high school for me. And even though I live in Oregon and I'm a lot closer to the Klamath Tribes, I wasn't as close with the culture. And obviously that made me sad because I had such a rich culture coming from my maternal grandpa's side that I really wanted to learn more about my grandma's Klamath tribe, that side of my family. And so when I got the opportunity from Catherine, I was super excited. I knew almost instantaneously what I wanted to focus my documentary on. I was deciding on what. At first I wanted to visit multiple Oregon tribes to learn about their language programs, but I ultimately decided to focus on the Klamath Tribes. And in doing so, it was perfectly timed so that I would be able to go to the Klamath Restoration Powwow and interview people. I just wanted to see what different community members knew, what they felt, their relationship towards tribal languages, how accessible it was to them, and I wanted to know from elders to middle-aged people to young adults to teenagers to children that are like just starting school. Yeah, so it was even more important for me to go during the Klamath Restoration Powwow because of the history behind the Klamath Restoration Powwow. You know, we have that event because our tribes were terminated in, I think, 54, and we were restored in, I think, 86. I'm a little foggy on the exact dates, but it was super important because we can clearly see the government's attempt to erase us from existence, essentially. So you can clearly see how community members had to let go or put their acquisition of language and culture on hold because we were put in a position where we had to assimilate culturally, linguistically, and we had to adapt to a point where we could succeed in the white world or the Western world. And I think in the documentary you can see how a lot of people aren't fluent, but whether they're elders or teenagers or young adults, they still did have some Klamath, Modoc, and Paiute language in their households without necessarily knowing. And I just think that's amazing how we can uphold traditions on the low, essentially, where it wasn't allowed, it was very discouraged, and yet the people before us were kind and smart and cared enough to like hold that with them and carry it no matter like how heavy that burden got. all teary about that. But language is so important, and that's why I wanted to focus my documentary on the Kla-Mo-Ya languages. Okay. Thank you so much, Rose and Elderberry Wisdom Farms. Thank you so much, Catherine, as my mentor. You've taught me so much, and I am so excited to be able to make more documentaries in the future. Thank you for everyone who tutored us during our film week. Thank you so much to the people that I interviewed at the Klamath Restoration Powwow, especially I want to send out a huge thanks to Rowena Jackson for allowing me to interview people connected to her stand. That was so helpful, and I got so much attention from community members because of that. Additionally, I want to thank Georgine Nelson, because she is currently the head of the language department, and she has done so much work to make sure that the contemporary Klamath community has accessibility and the ability to learn the languages of our tribes.